Welcome back. Chris Turner and Brian Laws, former Sheffield Wednesday managers, are with us both. Obvious topic of conversation. James Gregg also rejoins us after a few-week sabbatical. Last time I heard him, he was on Radio 2 talking to Steve Wright. So I'm glad he's honoured us with his presence here. And he will bring a bit of Sheffield United and quite a newsy chat about Sheffield United to proceedings here. A name that I don't think has been mentioned that James has unearthed during the course of his week. So we'll come to him for that. Gents, look, okay, along with just about everybody connected with Sheffield Wednesday, be it a player, be it a former player, be it a journalist, not a former journalist, current journalist, ex-managers, stars, you name it. They've Chris Waddle, very vocal. They're all critical of Dejphon Chansiri. But let's try, and you were in part one, and I was in part one, but let's try and just be constructive, if we can, about what he can do at this moment in time to change things. Brian, come to you first.
Well, I mean, it's not an easy answer. That's the thing. It isn't just a simple one. You know, as I said, we can easily criticise, and criticism is probably one of the easiest things to actually do. But it's finding the solutions and making sure that those solutions are the right ones for Sheffield Wednesday. For me, he really has to start again. I mean, whatever he's got in front of him, it needs to just be put in the bin and start again. But he needs to have football people with him, not people who are there on the take. Or I shouldn't rephrase that. Not on the take, but they're just for money reasons rather than the purpose of bringing the good times back to the football club, but giving them good, solid advice to work from and a structure to work from. But it's as you mentioned earlier, Alan, he doesn't like, or he's certainly restraining from actually allowing people to do the job. And that's the big thing for me, that everybody I've spoken to is that he doesn't allow people to do the job. He has to. So draw a line on the negativity that he's had from it, and hopefully he will take. And I hope he's watching it, and I hope he does watch this, because we're three people who have got the club at heart, and will gladly sit down with the guy and help him if necessary. And he's a brilliant businessman. There's no question about it. But footballing terms, he's got so much lack of knowledge and running of the football club that, unfortunately, it's just going to keep going and going, and in the end, he's going to have enough and get out. Well, if he wants to try and recover anything back, he's got to start allowing people to do the right things.
Chris, you're one of the people who tried to help. Howard Wilkinson, I believe, has tried to help. I mean, he's the kind of figure that probably could resolve everything from the inside. And in fairness and in balance, Dejphon Chansiri isn't one of football's rogue owners. Far from it. I believe he's in it for the right reasons. He's committed. He's put the finance in there. He's wanted the best things for the football club. Now, whether he's acted, in the best interests of it, in the way that he's run it, is another thing. But Chris, would you accept that this guy has wanted to succeed? He's not certainly wanted to drag the club down to the level it's at now. There's no plan. There's nothing sinister there.
I don't think there's anything sinister at all about the owner. I think, as Brian said very early on, that when he first arrived, it was looking like exciting times, because we've actually got an owner who's actually got the finance to finance a project to get back to the Premier League. But it's like, if I, no disrespect to Brian, but if we were to go and take over running of a factory, I haven't got a clue how to run a factory and make the goods, sell the goods, and anything like that. And that'd be a complete ass at it. And that's what's happened our club with him running it. I think straight away, one, he's got to repay the fans the season ticket money that's been owed over 18 months from the season of the first COVID when the fans were first closed out. I think there's got to be a ticketing strategy that gets the man on the street, the fan in the street, can afford to go to the game on a Saturday afternoon. Not every game, but the games that he can want to go and would like to go to, and get a ticketing strategy where he can afford to come to the game when he can get there. He's got to allow the manager to be in total control, give him everything he can, give him the finance within reason, to build a squad and build a team that can attack League One next season. And then I think he's got to sit down and listen to people. I think he should speak to people like Brian, myself, Chrissy Waddle, people. As he said, he had the opportunity with Howard Wilkinson 2-3 years ago, because I sat down with Howard at one of the home games and he went through the whole conversation, and I won't say what Howard was saying, but he gave him 2-3 years ago what was required at Sheffield Wednesday, and it went in one ear and went out the other. And he's got to sit down with the supporters groups that he's put in place, or that's been put in place, and the supporters trust, which I an advisor to. All clubs now have supporters trust. It's part and parcel of having of the football clubs now. And the supporters trust, obviously they are interested in results and what's happening with players and managers, but their main interest and main focus is to ask the questions about the day-to-day day experience of a fan, and obviously to highlight and help with the finances, the financial aspects of the club. We've had a problem with the EFL, as we spoke about. We're already in another one with a lack of the accounts not being produced and handed in on time. There's a transfer embargo over us until they go in. I mean, surely, accountants, whoever's the accountant or accountants of the football club, well, that would have been the first thing that the club would have done, was ensure that the next accounts, which were due, were put in on time. So, such things like that. But I think to sit down with the supporters or a group of supporters and the Supporters Trust, who are doing a great job, I believe, to try and bring everybody back together, because I think that continuation of criticism isn't going to help. I think it's frustrations of everybody about it. I think I would be more delighted to see the club being successful with the present owner in charge, and his finances and his money being channeled into the right department, into the right things, doing the right things for the fans, for the supporters, and being successful. Nobody would be more delighted than me. I don't want to see the chairman run out of town, but I have to say, if he doesn't change, he will be run out of town. You'd only have to listen and read what the supporters are planning or wanting to do. I don't want to see that. The place is already toxic, but it's not. No, Alan, Brian, what that stadium's like when things are not going right, and the fans are not happy. It's not a nice place to be, and I wouldn't like to see the guy in those, being put in those situations. So I generally hope that he listens, he learns from it, gives Darren Moore the opportunity to build a team that Darren Moore wants, and plays how Darren Moore wants to play, and recruits players who Darren Moore wants to bring to the club. And that's most important.
Well said, Chris. I think a lot of people will be saying, and in fact, I could even hear them saying, here, to that. I think strength of feeling would have been known already had supporters been in the stadium. And let's hope that next season we don't hear that strength of feeling, because things are sorted out within the club and we're seeing a good team on the field, and people can focus on that rather than all the off-field issues that we've been talking about more than once on this show. In fact, I go back 3 or 4 years with columns pointing things out in a more respectful way which completely has failed to work. And I think a lot of people around Sheffield Wednesday have had exactly the same experience. I'm going to come to you guys, back to you guys in a minute, on the out of contracts and the in contracts and people that you would gladly offload, people who might be quite influential next season. But let's bring James Gregg in, because it's a troubled time as well for your team. I mean, your colours were nailed to the mast here quite some time ago, James. And like all of us, you're following events as Sheffield United look to replace somehow a club legend in Chris Wilder. And something interesting that you came across this week.
It was, and it was completely by accident as well, I've got to say, because I've said it many times before, I don't cover United. I'm not a Sheffield United journalist. I don't go to the press conferences, I don't go to the matches, I don't sit in the press box. I don't get any information fed, and actually try and keep out of it as much as possible. The only time I talk about Sheffield United actually is on this show. But it was interesting. I was doing some preview material. I work for the World Service across the BBC, and this week, actually, as we record this on Wednesday, no secrets here on Sheffield Live, there is a big final in France happening. It's the Coupe de France final between Paris Saint-Germain and Montpellier. Now, why is this of interest? Well, I didn't really think it was at all either. My French football knowledge is, well, shoddy at best. And I got offered the chance to interview the Montpellier head coach with a translator. I don't speak particularly good French. So we start chatting away and talking about Paris Saint-Germain. And this manager, he's got quite a good track record. And then he kind of drops out at the end that he's leaving Montpellier at the end of the season. So I said, all right, okay, where are you thinking of coming? And he says, oh, well, he says through the translator, he says that he's coming to England, to the Championship. I said, what? Right, okay, which clubs have you got in mind? I'm thinking there's not that many clubs looking for managers. I know there will be in the summer when people get the boot. But it just said, it was very much alluded to the fact that Sheffield United were in talks with him. So I asked a few questions, spoke to the agent afterwards, and he said, yeah, it's fairly common knowledge. And there's a few of the little bits and bobs, which actually I won't kind of disclose, just kind of about a fairness. But basically, it's true. They're speaking to Sheffield United. And this bloke's got a bit of pedigree as well, Alan, actually. He's shoestring budget. They play good football. I've had a look since I've found this out at some of the articles in the French media. He's well known for playing good attacking sort of up and atom football, which I know that's the holy grail. And actually, if you can get results whilst doing that, that's brilliant. And they have got results. They finished in the top 10 in the last 4 seasons in Ligue 1, which, as you know, isn't a particularly competitive league in terms of challenging at the top. But there's a lot of teams all bunched together with a similar kind of budget, selling players on. And I think there's genuine interest. He gave Edouard Mendy, the Chelsea goalkeeper, his debut when he was the manager of Rennes. So he's got a bit about him. And I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to be the Blades manager, but it's just another name. And actually, it was funny. I stuck that out on Twitter yesterday, and then all of a sudden, you know how it works, gentlemen. You mention a name on Twitter, and all of a sudden, the bookies' odds, he shot right up to the sort of, into the top 8 or so. So that was interesting. But it again just stumbled across it by accident, and I'm not particularly looking for who it's going to be. But that was an interesting way to find something out.
Well, can I tell you what? The best things are stumbled across by accident, because I stumbled across by accident in the Bramall Lane car park, leaving the ground last Saturday night, that Sheffield United were finally going to make an approach to Slaviša Djukanovic, who I think by common consent is the best guy for the job with his double promotion from the Championship to the Premier League. But you've thrown in this very interesting name, Michel de Zakarian, or Zakarian.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Michel de Zakarian, who's an Armenian and the coach of Montpellier. He's 58 years old. I looked up, so plenty of experience and certainly stature needed to replace Chris Wilder. Just before we go back to Wednesday, any thoughts on developments at the Lane, Brian or Chris?
Well, I've not, I've not really watched a lot about Blades, as you can imagine. Why would I? But it's it's obviously interesting to see. I mean, I greatly admire Chris Wilder and what he's achieved at Sheffield United. I think it's been phenomenal, and he's going to be a huge void to fill. with that kind of passion and desire. And, obviously, if they go down the foreign route, they're not going to have that kind of passionate manager on the touchline that are almost connected with the fans. I think it'd be more disconnected rather than anything else. But what he's achieved has been phenomenal. So, the fallout of the Premiership on their second season probably was a disaster, to say the least, but especially from the first season, they've had a fairly comfortable ride. But they've struggled in that second season for whatever reason. But I have to say, if any football club has not been looking and trying to recruit the best that's possibly available to them, they've got to be talking to everybody. You can have 10 managers that you would like involved to talk to, but you've really got to speak to those people. Are they the type that can actually really bring back the good times? And can you have that bounce back ability and get back into the Premiership? Because they certainly will have the finances to do it. So whoever goes in there have a real fantastic opportunity, because the foundations were certainly built by Chris.
Yeah, Chris Turner. I recall when Dave Bassett, a figure of equal legendary status, maybe even higher legendary status than Chris Wilder, when he left, and they brought in Howard Kendall, one of the best managers in the game, to replace him. We're talking at that level, aren't we? That you can't bring a novice or an unknown in here. The favourite for the job was Alexander Blessing. I think he's only had 35, 36 matches as a football manager. Is that a starter even for you?
Yeah.
Look, Sheffield United have had a tremendous run over a 3-year period with Chris Wilder. And as an ex-teammate of mine, I've known Chris a long time. And Sheffield United are at a real crossroads, in my opinion. I thought they were at the crossroads when the owner got the club off McCabe, and I thought then this is going to be an interesting period here now, and we are lo and behold how long it is, and they've lost the best manager that they've had in 10, 15 years, 20 years, whatever. So they're now going, in my opinion, down a route that could suddenly go to what Sheffield Wednesday have gone in choosing a manager. As Brian said, they've got to choose it carefully, and I think they've got to get the right man who plays the right sort of football. I mean, the biggest thing about COVID for me in football has been the decline in Sheffield United in terms of no fans. 1 minute they were on the way to Europe, and then the next minute they can't win a home game, they can't win games. And they are surely one of the biggest losers, I believe, in the COVID, because Bramall Lane, like Hillsborough, when it's buzzing, it's a difficult place to go and win at. So it's important who they appoint next. But as Brian said, I'm not really interested, because I'm a Wednesday man, and what they do, they can do what they want to do. We've got our own.
Well, James, thank you so much for bringing that to the table. That's really interesting. We'll come back to you for a little bit on, the fact that sport generally is cranking back into life before the end of the show. But just briefly, I'm not going to read out all the names, but there's 13 of them who are out of contract at Sheffield Wednesday. Some big names among them. I mean, Brian, is there anybody, let's tackle it this way, is there anybody that you would look to keep?
Well, now that the planning is League One, and Chris will tell you, you're not going to do it with youngsters, to get out of League One. It's a brutal league to get out of, and you've got to have experienced players blended with youth, of course, but you can't go down where they're all young, inexperienced players. That's not going to work. So they're going to need to keep one or two players. Some have been there a long time, and a lot of fans will probably say too long. but one thing for sure is they need a damn good goalkeeper to start with. Now, that's going to be a decision that's got to be made. Right down the spine of the team, a centre half that they can rely on. Who's got the know-how, and the same through midfield, and a striker that they can rely on. There's just don't seem to have that reliability. So there's so many players on their day can do things on their day, but unfortunately it's not regular enough. And those players that have been there a long, long time and have been through this process, they're drained. I think they're mentally drained, and they're probably, for their benefit of their own careers, they'll need to probably move on, because I think it needs freshness, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. It has for some time, and I think the decision will be taken out of the club's hands with the likes of Harris and Reach and players like that, who will get offers from Championship clubs, probably Rhodes as well. Lees might do. Hutchinson, I could see him being released. He's done great service. Westwood, also great service. You can see him being released. What about players, Chris, coming to you, that could really do well for Wednesday in who are in contract? I'm looking at, say, Iorfa, Luongo, certainly Windass. Can they keep him?
Well, I think Windass has been at times one of the better performers. Scored some important goals in some of the games that they did win. See, this is a really. I mean, it's been good for Darren, because although the team's gone down, he's had 10 games, because obviously he missed a few with COVID, and it's good to see him back, by the way. He knows the players, he's seen it. For me, and this is no disrespect to any of the players that's played there this season, I would let all the players go who are out of contract, because the club has got to rebuild a new future. We're going into League One. I've seen a lot of League One football this season. There are some good teams, and when you look at some of the clubs there, Sunderland may still be there, Charlton, Ipswich, Portsmouth, Plymouth, good sides. Even your smaller clubs who were mentioned earlier are tough on the day to beat. And as Brian said, you can't go with young players. I'm not a real supporter of loan players. I saw a lot of Doncaster this season, and they've had 6, 7, 8 loan players in. Up until January, they were flying, and I think it was only a lack of games being postponed for COVID and one or two other reasons why, where they fell 3 or 4 games behind everybody. They were really in the hunt. And then in December, they lost their main man in midfield, who signed for Preston for big money. And they brought some more loans in January, which didn't really continue the lift off, and they nosedived towards the season. And I think that's what happens when you have too many loan players. It's not their club. I'd like to see the club, and I know Darren's not had the length of time, but you've got to, as Brian said earlier, you've got to be eyeing up players months in advance to bring in. Now, Darren's not had that time, but he's got the experience. Obviously, there'll be lots of players who'd love to come and play for the club. And I think they've got to build a squad of our players. Okay, you can still get 1 or 2 loans in that are the icing on the cake if it's a striker, if it's a midfield player that can create or whatever. But I would like them to sign our players and build a team for the next 2 seasons. I think we need 4 strikers, because I don't think we've got a striker who hits a target, who scores enough goals, who's got pace, who runs in behind, works his socks off up the front, and a big striker for the obvious reasons, to give us something to hold the ball up and bring others into play. Your goalkeeping situation's been up and down for 2.5, 3 years now. We've had the best in the Championship. Something went drastically wrong within the club with Kieran Westwood, where 1 minute he's at the club, then he's not at the club, then he's injured, then he's not injured, then he's played, then he's not playing, then he's dropping out of games at 2:30, and so on. So it's not really been a great time for Kieran, but he was a tremendous goalkeeper for us. We need a goalkeeper who's going to come, be dominant, be the presence at the back that's going to lead us through. help one or both of the younger goalkeepers. I think we need 2 centre-backs, in my opinion. I think we need a good right down the spine of the team that we need, and then in wide areas or from midfield, legs. Barry Bannon can play football, can make us tick. If he's still here, as I said earlier, he signed a new contract. Build a team around Barry Bannon, bring some legs into the team, some youthfulness, some experience, and pace and power.
Right. Okay, Chris, thanks very much indeed. I've got some ideas in mind for a goalkeeper. I might be looking at one right now.
Brian.
Yeah. And we've also got a very good right back who can get up and down.
Yeah.
And we've got a box-to-box midfielder in James Gregg, who's just going to. We're almost out of time. We've just got a little bit of time just to tell us what's going on, mate.
Yeah, so the Sheffield Sharks, they finished their season. They lost by 4 points in the British Basketball League playoffs. Gutted for them. Rebuild next season. And look, 10,000 fans in for the final game at Bramall Lane this season against Burnley. Will they manage to sell that out? I'm not so sure. But it's just great that there's some kind of normality resuming, and season tickets and all that kind of stuff. The excitement's building up ahead of next season. So normality is just around the corner, and it'll be even more so when me and you can have a pint after we've done this show in the studio.
Hey, that's scheduled for the next few days. Don't worry about that. We might even not be put off by the sort of incredible thunderstorm that I watched Chesterfield play in last night. 4 goals to 1 they won. They had some fantastic strikes, but none of them were as impressive as the strikes coming down from above. It was biblical, absolutely biblical. But people were still under awnings outside pubs drinking the British Bulldog spirit. Okay.
By the way,
guys, thank you.
Alan, can I just say it's great to see Chesterfield going well again.
Isn't it just?
Yes.
Here, and seconded. Yeah.
100%.
Chris Turner, Brian Laws, James Gregg, thank you very much indeed. And to you for watching. This show will be on my YouTube channel after transmission. And we'll be back with another show very soon, I hope. Take care. See you. Bye-bye.